Questions are being raised internally over whether Jackie O will return to KIIS FM's Carl and Jackie O show on Monday morning. The broadcasting star has been missing in action, taking the week off air after an on-air blow-up with Sandilands last week. Now, today there was another twist when Kyle took the day off, leaving listeners with a repeat episode. Kyle's absence comes a day after he started reflecting on his actions and how they led to Jackie's absence from the airwaves.
No Jackie again today, day 3.
Yeah. Well, she's off for the week, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
How are you feeling about everything?
Nice question, actually.
Yeah.
Because I got a text message yesterday from Marsha Hines, my other work wife at the TV.
Yep.
And she's like, what's going on with Jackie?
Oh, yeah.
And I sort of left it for a while because I thought, because I don't.
Because everyone would be asking you, right?
But I don't really see that many people.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a bit of a blasting from my wife.
Oh, what did Tegan say?
Well, she's been supportive, but she's also very honest with me. And she goes, well, from time to time, you do say things at home that don't land well either.
I'm sure, as everyone does with their partner.
Yeah, and she's right. Like, I think I said to my wife, the friendship between Jackie and I has been over 27 years. Very honest with each other. And sometimes, I think about it in hindsight, I probably should have said my words off the air. But sometimes this show is just so free-flowing and honest.
You know, I said earlier this week on Media McKnight that when Kyle gets a chance to sit back and reflect on this, he would have some regrets about doing it on air, and it certainly seems like that's the case. Now, I've got some exclusive details for you. Kyle wasn't actually in the studio when he had that blow-up with Jackie O. He was actually doing the show from home. So there is a big difference between looking across the table at someone and knowing they're getting really upset and feeling the energy in the room than when you are seeing it on a monitor. And when he was talking to Brooklyn in the first part of the blow up, which you can see on Media McKnight, just go to YouTube, he can see Jackie O on the phone doing this research, and he's not able to get that validation looking around the production team because he's only got the monitor. And I think this has played into this whole thing as well, because when you're talking on air, it is nice to get that validation. After we do one of these hot topics, I always look over to Amanda for a yes or a no and get some kind of validation. And I think that's what was lacking here. And he possibly didn't realize how much his words were affecting Jackie O because he wasn't in the room with her. Meanwhile, if we look at what happened on Wednesday, Brooklyn, the newsreader, and Bruno, Carl's manager, were taking him through some of the headlines about the controversy, which led to an interesting admission.
Women's Day says nothing lasts forever. Update as Kyle and Jackie O feud escalates.
Well, I don't think it's escalated. Like I obviously upset her, and maybe in hindsight I shouldn't have said it on the air. But we say a lot of things on the air here. It's never meant to hurt her feelings, and obviously it did. And I regret hurting her feelings. No one wants to hurt someone, especially someone you care for.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I don't really know. The show's just ploughing ahead anyway, so I'm just leaving this up to management. I don't know what the plan is here or when it will be rectified or if it will be rectified. I hope it is. They asked me yesterday, management, what do you want to do about it? And I said, well, I'm open. The end result for me would be we're back on air and everything's happy, but I want her to be happy and enjoy it. And I also want the same thing. I don't care whether you enjoy it or the rest of the staff. I could care less.
I'm glad you want Jackie to enjoy it.
I'll swap you all out in a heartbeat.
I'll tell her that.
I'll do heads and tails as to who stays and who goes, but not for Jackie.
Kyle, you need to call Jackie. The fact that he said he's leaving it to management, he obviously doesn't know how to deal with this situation. And what can management do better than someone you've had a 2-decade relationship with? You need to call her and you need to apologize. And that's probably the phone call she's waiting for. And it's obviously had an effect on Kyle, the stress of it, what's going on. And I do think he's much softer than what we see on air. And I think this has eaten him up. That's why he wasn't on this morning. And the show's not the same without her, just like it's not the same without him. They are an amazing team. And there are fears internally at ARN that Jackie won't show up on Monday. But I can tell you, Kyle is expected back tomorrow. If that happens, we'll wait and see. But Jackie has not put out a statement saying she's definitely back Monday. She hasn't told ARN that she's definitely back Monday. So there's so many questions here. There is a fear she won't be there. And this will either drag on or it's done. But it doesn't sound like Kyle has made a call. And it's the first thing he needs to do. He can talk about it on air all he likes, but he needs to call Jackie. It's a hard conversation to have. In fact, that's why this conversation that we played the other day happened on air, because it's easier. It's part of the theatre. You can have a go at Jackie. That's what you do. It's banter. Kyle just saw it as banter. But there obviously was a real issue about the fact she is addicted to the stars, and he does think it's affecting her work on air. But it's easier to have that conversation in a public place where it's half joking, half real, rather than saying, hey, Jackie, we need to talk and have a serious conversation, even though she would have preferred it to be off air. But I think that shows insecurities from Kyle as to why it didn't happen on air. Why it didn't happen behind the scenes. But now, if he wants to save this work marriage, he needs to do something very tough. He needs to call her. And now.
The best place to watch McKnight Tonight is on YouTube. Help us monetize the show by going to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. And you can always become a paid member. That gives you exclusive live streams and early access to videos. Just go to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight.